So Third Pillar, yeah, it's a great story. It's the start of the album, first track. It's where we're looking at the three pillars, which kind of what we wanted to do was blend that into our imagery with our logo being the three pillars, and it's all about the journey to the three pillars and it being a place of worship and a portal for the ghosts of Atlantis to travel through time, which will be something you will find out more about the time travel and bits later on in our career. But for now, it's just the first track.
Third Pillar. Third Pillar is obviously the first main video, first full video we ever put out. It's probably one of the most grand songs in terms of it as a sonic spectacle. You've got big sort of string sections, and then you've got sort of a lot of double kick work sort of tucked in with the guitars, and it sets the pace for the album nicely, and it lets you know what's going to be headed your way.
So this was one of the original songs that Colin introduced me to. I really like how this has a different feel to the rest of the album. It's got the really dark chants, the choir chants. It's got the really quick tremolo and guitar parts, which are fun to play. And my personal favourite part is the chorus, where Pip and Colin show a great contrast between clean vocals and screaming. And I really love the guitar run, which leads into the breakdown.
For me, this is a very, very special song because this was the first time that anyone outside of this project heard Ghosts of Atlantis. This was the first single we dropped, the first lyric video we dropped, and for me that is a very special place in my heart. You know, it's the first time that people could sit there and see what we were about. So for me, this will always be a very special track.
This track is obviously, like Phil said previously on this video, it was obviously the first thing we put out in terms of single and lyric video. This song has got a lot more metalcore influence in its song structure, although it's also got sort of some spoken word bits. It's got some black metal, bit of melodic death, and obviously orchestras. So it's quite a varied song, and it's probably one of the ones on the album which is very reflective of the previous bands we were in together before Ghosts of Atlantis.
So this song was one of the original three that Colin introduced me to when he asked me to join the band. When I first heard it, I was absolutely blown away. It's got a huge intro, an amazing guitar riff in the verse, and the chorus is absolutely huge.
So track number 3, False Prophet, is pretty much about what the title says. It's about a false prophet who causes division within the people of Atlantis and causes the great war between the people that follow the gods and people that are following the other side on the war, which you'll hear more about the stories later on. And it's about how you can spin those lies and, you know, the false news that he was spreading that caused the divisions and the war ahead.
Following on from what Pip just said about this song, we wanted to construct a song musically that would tie in with the narrative of the whole information being passed down and causing division amongst people. So we really looked at trying to get this one with some big choirs and some big choruses about sort of construing and twisting words. We wanted to have the impact, so we had sort of big grand choruses along with sort of very sort of dark staccato riffs and drums. It's a good song. It's one of my favourite on the album. I think live it's going to be a banger.
This song is one of the first songs that I wrote an intro for using synths and loops. It's probably one of the most diverse songs on the album, with multiple genres covering across the whole board. It's probably one of our only songs as well which has dual guitar solos in it.
For me personally, I really enjoy the vocal patterns on this. Me and Colin worked very closely throughout the entire album on all the vocal patterns as well as the lyrics, and it was a very new experience for me. So for this, I just really enjoyed the punchiness of it and the lyrical patterns that we put together, and that stands out as one personally for me that I really enjoyed performing.
This track was one of the first tracks we actually wrote for the album actually. It was the very first song that I sort of worked on here at Devilhead Studios to have the sound that we could follow from here on in. We've deviated away from some of it obviously as we've grown together through the production, but it's certainly a track which is what I would call the most accessible, the most hooky, and probably one of the heaviest at the same time. So yeah, it's certainly a good one as far as I'm concerned. Quite modern and quite heavy.
This song is my favourite song of the album. It's got absolutely huge choruses, plenty of guitar riffs. It's probably one of our heaviest songs on the album as well. I really like the end because it's got an awesome key change that really works well.
Pretty much it's where you first see the glimpse of us as writers move away from the Greek mythology and into our own lore by altering the traditional stories and developing this fantasy and lore for ourselves. And it's basically where Poseidon's trident is shattered and destroyed in the battle, and leads into the next song that you will see in our next video.
This track we actually brought in one of our friends and one of my band partners from another project from Dia Morte, called James Doughton, who's the vocalist in Black Crown this year. He's also done some voiceover work in Doom, the Elder Scrolls and stuff, and he lent his demonic lungs to the intro section of the song. This song's very big, big orchestras, big sort of harmony guitars, big choruses. There's a lot going on. It tells the story of the Great War, and the music had to reflect that. And we wanted really to take the listener sort of to hell and back with this one. So, yeah.
I'm really impressed with the way that this song has evolved over the years. As Colin said, it's quite an old song, and many of you might know it. My personal favourites are there's like a math metal kind of breakdown with lots of weird time signatures that works really well. And I'd probably say this is probably one of the most mainstream songs on the album, and I can guarantee you it's going to go down well live.
This is following on from the previous video that we said, Tridents Fail. They created a massive weapon the size of a mountain to basically fight against the gods in the name of Poseidon. So this was about Poseidon's bow and the creation of this mythical weapon that was to fight against the gods, and leads into that war.
Poseidon's Bow is a track which is quite different from the other tracks in the fact that it's quite short. We wanted something that was impactful, we wanted it aggressive, we wanted it to be very, very in your face and in and out, get the job done, but also take you on a journey. And we got the point we needed to across in minimal time on this track, whereas a lot of the other ones are quite spread out, quite involved, quite theatrical and quite encompassing in terms of a cinematic experience. This is far more in your face, it's more smash mouth, and it's done and it's out. Yeah.
This song is one of the heaviest songs on the album. There's some brilliant riffs in here, and it reminds me a lot of the video game Doom. There's an awesome solo, which thank I haven't got to play live.
This is at the end of the war. Those from both sides of the war, whether they were on that side or that side, are brought together with their souls when they've passed through into the gardens. And this is their chance to find peace and tranquility, and for them to ascend to the afterlife. And they're resting in these gardens whilst the ghosts of Atlantis decide their fate, really, and allow them to heal and look to find that redemption for them. And it's about both sides of the argument coming together, finding peace and moving forward into a better place.
Dance Athena is the last single that we've released from the debut album 3624, coming out on March 20th. It's a song that we wanted to show more of our musicality and our skill sets and tools in other genres, rather than just sort of being necessarily metal and orchestration stuff. There's some folk music in this one, there's some really nice clean singing mixed in with some really, really aggressive main vocals from Pip. is probably the closest song on the album to being a black metal type song. Although I wouldn't really class it as a black metal track, it definitely has those elements in it. It's definitely one of the ones that takes you on a journey in your mind's eye, and we're pretty sure it's going to be a firm favourite live, and we're definitely looking forward to the bit where it drops and it says Frost, as many of you said in the comments.
This song is one of the more catchier songs on the album. It almost starts off with like a film soundtrack. It sounds like something like Lord of the Rings, which really turns into this huge sing-along guitar riff that's going to be stuck in your head for ages. One of my favourites on the album as well.
So the Lost Compass, the final track on the album, it's all about the journey home after the Great War that was had. That they're able to sit there, and even though the war has ended, the gods are still quite bitter, and only one of the ships will return back, and it's kind of that warning sign that only one will survive.
The last track on the album is The Lost Compass. We wanted to end the album on an uplifting message because there's been a lot of sinister, dark stuff, big orchestration, big doomy choirs, and just generally kind of macabre kind of feelings going through the album. So we wanted to finish the album on an uplifting little number. So we brought in another person who was our friend Drake Festa from over in Chicago, and he played the piano on the intro and outro to the track. Drake also is a very talented individual who did all the artwork for us and the lyric videos. He really is kind of like a sixth member of this band, even though he's not officially in it. We're very close with him, and he's very close with us, and we work very closely together. And this was really the track we wanted to finish on to give everyone a nice uplifting finish.
This song starts off with a piano piece that sets the mood, and then all of a sudden this huge guitar riff just rips into your face. It's got really catchy choruses that are going to keep you singing, and I think it's a great way to end our album.